But the real payoffs that we're getting for all of this healing, one of them is Cleansing Cleric, which is a 4-mana 4/5 Draenei. With Battlecry, your healing effects restore 2 more health this game. But this effect is very, very good, especially when you consider the location. The spell that deals 5, heals 5, now it heals 7, now it heals 9, and if that's getting flipped into damage, that's a near Pyroblast if you played both of these.
Welcome to episode 535 of Concede, a Hearthstone podcast dedicated to making the competitive side of the game more accessible to you. It is Thursday, February 26th, 2026 in the evening. Coming to you from Nomergon, Ohio, it's me, Edelweiss. From North Rand, Massachusetts, we have Wicked Good.
Hi.
From Teldersill, California, we have Megasa.
Hello.
And from all around the world, we have you, dear listeners. This week's episode is brought to you by our producers, Number Theory, Crash, Beef Squatch, David P., Jeremy T., Bottle Caps, Grumpy Monk, The Burger Club, Kirk Regan, May, NY Kiwi, Spine, and by our patrons of the week, Ridiculous Hat and Samurai Fleet. You can go to patreon.com/CoinConcede to get perks like thank you at the top of the show, bonus post-show content, early access to new episodes, and help support the show in the process. If you would like to support the show but cannot do so monetarily, please consider leaving us a 5-star review on your podcast of your choice, as it always helps other people find the show. So, Life and Ladder, how are you all doing?
Well, one of us has made a triumphant return, so I think we should let her go first.
All right. Well, thank you all for holding down the fort last week. My husband got sick, and I thought that I had kind of muddled my way through without getting properly sick. And then on Thursday, it was like, nah, I am properly sick. I slept for 14 hours on Friday last week, which I think was very helpful and probably the only reason I was able to go back to work on Monday. But luckily, feeling a lot better at this point. And I found that the one deck that I could win with while sick was Archwing Mage. I had made some changes from last week where I had taken out Hataru, taken out the Slither Spheres at Wicked's urging, put in Story of the Waygate, which reduces the cost of all your spells, and that can be a bit of an alternative if you don't find the Ingenious Artificer, but you do get Story of the Waygate on like some sunscreens, because we also put in Life-Saving Aura. Took out Storage Scuffle. That can be another thing that you can do if you don't find the Artificer. And so that deck did quite well for me. Then it was doing a little less well for me. And then Blackhorn got nerfed. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And I figured even though I did still get Blackhorned with Discover Hunter after the nerf, and it was brutal, despite, because I didn't have much of a hand because I hadn't found Niall in that game. Discover Hunter is still working really well for me this week. And it's really fun, and I just want to kind of play it while I can before rotations. So I've been having a good time with that. I feel like I might have written down... oh yes, I did have one Archwing Mage game with Rayla, because it is nice to have Rayla as an alternative there. It got me that Death Knight 2/3 that does a damage to 2 different enemies every time you play a spell.
Oh yeah. That's real good when you get that off Rayla. That's fantastic.
So I just cleared their whole board, did some damage to them, and then had a beautiful empty board the next turn when I was able to actually, they cleared, and then I found the Archwing. So that deck is surprisingly, for anyone who's thinking about playing it, you don't need to kill them on the Archwing turn. Usually not necessarily usually, but often I don't kill them on the Archwing turn, but they have to then clear everything.
And heal, usually.
Usually heal. Because you have some extra burn. Worst case, you can find your other one, or you can do some Rayla stuff. Like, you often get them low. Just getting them low is good enough. So don't feel like, I don't have lethal, I shouldn't play it. Play it. As soon as you have a good Archwing turn, go for it. That's my main advice for that deck. But otherwise, I've been having a good time with Discover Hunter. I'm still playing a sort of Neary burn version. No Elise. No Incendious. We're just all in. I don't know if No Incendious is correct, but I've been playing this particular list for like a couple months now, and I've been having fun with it, so I'm not changing it. And today was able to sort of burn down some unsuspecting opponents from 26 all of a sudden, so that's fun. One of them, I missed lethal, but then was able to get exact lethal the next turn. I like had to look at the replay after to go, did I have lethal? I was like, oh yeah, I had a couple steals, and if I had stolen instead of cleared their minions, then I would have had just exactly enough. So, but yeah, that's my week.
How about you, Wicked?
Well, I also kept playing Archwing Mage. Like, it's good. I'm not really in the mood to learn anything else. I don't really want to go back to Demon Hunter because I've done enough Demon Hunter. I've done enough Death Knight. I don't really want to, like, it's at least like newish, and I feel like I've got the play pattern down, and I do like the Story of the Waygate list. You also can just burn off the first copies of the drinks, and then the second or third copies of the drinks get treated as cards that didn't start in your deck for purposes of Story of the Waygate too.
That's helpful.
That's another one that sometimes when you don't have the refresher, then you can just, okay, well, I'm just gonna burn off a Divine Brew, and burn off the Mage Drink, and then I'll play Story of the Waygate. That's 2 more 0-cost spells, and as long as you can play them, like if your opponent has minions, and if your opponent doesn't have minions, you can't play the Mage Drink, but that's fine. You can generally get enough of those out, and or Primordial Glyph and take something that's going to get discounted to 0, or you play Hataru the turn before and you get something that's going to get discounted to 0 and just hold it. Like those sorts of things. So I do like the flexibility there. I did queue into Firebat. That didn't go well for me. I'm not surprised that it didn't go well for me. And yeah, he's still good. It turns out he won a cup this weekend too. So we're going to see him in play. It's playoffs, right? Not
he
champs.
will be in playoffs. Whether or not we see him depends entirely on him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because you only stream the second day, right? Is that what it is?
I don't know if it's second or third, but yeah, we only do the top cut for each region. And what that means is I have a very long day because it means I cast, well, assuming I'm able to get the ask of not being in the morning, I guess it's only a somewhat long day because it means I just do the second 2 regions. I
mean, APAC's real early. Like that's.
APAC is like at 1. I heard something I'd be starting at like 1 or 2 in the morning, which is death. So I can't do that anymore. But maybe I'll have to. We'll see. At any rate, yeah, the event runs from roughly 1 or 2 in the morning until we are done, and we go through all 3 regions, and I believe it goes APAC, EU, and then Americas. So ideally I can pick up somewhere around 6 or 7 a.m. instead of 2, but it's it is fun. I'm remembering when it'd be like Gia and Derek, you're doing one part, and then that was the same kind of thing where it was a very long day where they went through all the regions.
It's been fun to see Firebat back. For anybody listening to this who is not familiar, he was the 2014 world champion, first
world champion.
Yeah, and a streamer, and then had quit the game a long time ago, and came back after doing a video with Rarin where he was rating cards, having not played Hearthstone in a decade, and now he's been doing a lot of collabs with people and his own videos. There was a Asteroid Shaman that sort of went viral because he had a deck doctor building it, and I will say, for anybody who wants to see what deck building looks like, it's whether or not you agree with every card choice, it's also he's coming at this not quite knowing how Asteroid Shaman has been built in the past, so he doesn't have that functional fixedness of this is how you build it, quote unquote, but just that look at every card, try to think about what it's doing, play a game, see what happened, and then you would keep iterating, right? That's kind of how the deck building process goes, so it's fun for that reason too. But
I remember I mean, growing up isn't quite the right word, but that's sort of what it feels like reflecting on it, right? Starting out in Hearthstone, watching Firebat's deck doctor stuff, and
And like Tice deck guides and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I was always drawn to Firebat though. He always seemed like a pretty chill, nice dude. And from I forget which one of you found something that basically said what he did post winning that championship. He had some rough times, but he had basically invested his winnings well. They weren't as much then, but and has done a lot to take care of his family and stuff. So yeah, he's very cool. I hope he'll be at BlizzCon and maybe we'll get the opportunity to meet him. But
yeah, and I did queue into people playing that Asteroid Shaman, and it was quite a trip running into turn 2 Doomsayer like it was 2015 again.
And not in a release deck. Yeah. I played some of it myself, and yeah, that was like a little bit of Hearthstone. I played, middling success. There were some good ones, and some where I'm like, okay, I'm done now. Mostly, I've not been playing Hearthstone. Admittedly, I've been playing because this is what I do. Right, we get towards the end of a season, even more so, coming up on rotation, right, where everything is sort of tired, but always kind of coming up on the end of an expansion and leading up into the next one. I just like no life a game.
Yeah.
Did this with ep535 Rebirth. Did it with Elden Ring to some extent. Did it? I did Cycles Horizon. So presently that is Clair Obscur, which I can't do French. It's not. The R's are so weird.
Expedition 33. You can say that.
Yeah,
instead.
Expedition 33. Sure. My understanding is Clair Obscur is kind of like the Italian Chiaroscuro, which is light and shadow.
Yeah.
Which makes a lot of sense for the game. But I have never. I think this is right. I'm not sure I've ever played a game that just you get to the end of an act and you're like, what just happened? Excuse, you think where something's going, and then they're just like, but what if?
So does that mean that you got to the end of Act 2?
It does mean I got to the end of Act 2. I have just begun Act 3, where Act 3 is the airship act. If you've played Final Fantasies, it's like, okay, go anywhere you want now.
Here's the world map. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, yeah, you're sort of like some freedom, but somewhat linear plot-wise, right? But you have access to the world map before then, and then Act 3 is you've got the airship now. It's not an airship, but, same kind of deal. And just fly anywhere you want. Even the old Final Fantasies would have this, right? Where you're in your little airship on the 8-bit world map and just flying it around, and then you drop down and go into a city. So, yeah, I have been trying to get my brother to play it and describing it as it's like if Dark Souls and the JRPG genre had a baby, right?
Yeah, I can see that.
And I think I said this last week, right? Where ep535 Remake says, what if instead of you doing regular attacks, we'll just have you pressing X all the time and you're doing real-time combat stuff, and then you can pause it to pick something. I'm fine with that, but it's not my favorite. This is what if it's turn-based, but when it's not your turn, it's real time. And so the perhaps more Sekiro than Dark Souls, because it's getting the parries down and the dodges down is very, very rewarding. And
yes, even I, who was bad at it, did have to learn to at least dodge. And then I had to really up my game on my builds. And I played most of it on Expeditioner, not on Expert. I did play some on Expert when I started to get over-leveled.
Sure.
But simply because I'm bad at parrying. But if you're good at parrying, it really rewards you for being good at parrying.
Yeah. I was for a brief period, a little concerned that oh no, if I do too much extra stuff, am I gonna be over leveled for the main fights? I've been playing on Expert the whole time, and definitely not. If you play on Expert the whole time, it is distinctly Souls-like, and the parries are challenging. The dodges are more forgiving, but you're less rewarded for dodges than you are for parrying. Very, very cool. system of like magic and world building and everything. I totally deserving of it. Got Game of the Year on a lot of places.
Yeah. I mean, it won all the awards.
It swept the Game Awards pretty much. It's if you had like Dark Souls or Sekiro plus JRPGs plus like an intense French movie. That's very well done.
Yes, very much so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to say the writing is very good, but very emotional, and also the music is very phenomenal and very French.
Yes, both of those things. I have my quibbles, which I'll tell you when you finish, but they're quibbles, right? Like for the most part,
yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I have one boss left to beat, who is the hardest boss, except for the DLC bosses who are just insane. And even Hat said that he gave up on them. He's like, these are for the people who've been playing since it launched and never stopped.
Yeah, I guess I don't know if there's a level cap, but
there is a level cap, but you won't get anywhere close to it unless you'll get to it if you like 100% it. Yeah, I was about to say Edel will hit it. Yeah, because you'll do everything, but you kind of have to do everything to hit it.
I mean, I've felt underleveled for the end of Act 2. Like, it was the first time I had to go gain some more levels to get Verso to level 48, because I was like, oh, I'm actually going to need a couple more high-end abilities. I only occasionally did the damage cap, so I was having to just learn a lot of timing. Yeah, but great game. If you haven't tried it out, definitely try it out. And sorry for spending so much time on that.
No,
I mean, excited.
It's a good game. I wish I could play it without getting hopelessly lost.
I get lost, right? Which I know you're screwed then.
I'm just my sense of direction is terrible. But I did finish Trails of Cold Steel 3.
Nice.
So that was that it's given me more time for that. And holy crap, that was like the ending to Empire Strikes Back. Like
awesome.
Yeah. So then I went straight into 4, and I've been no-lifing that because that is like, I need to know what the hell happens, because it's gotten like so absurd that it complimentary that I need to see this out to the end. And I'm really glad I picked the series back up, because I took a long break. But I mean, I played like 5 or 6 games in a row, so it wasn't that big a deal. But I needed to take a break, and then coming back to it's like, oh god, like this is like coming home, and now there's like so much more. And yeah.
Perhaps
and I've got like several 80-hour games ahead of me, I guess. But yeah,
perhaps at the next, coming up on end of expansion, you can just let me know if the remake of the first one goes on sale.
Yeah, or if second chapters come out, because you need to. I don't want you to play it until the remake of second chapter's out. Then if you get through it and you finish first chapter, then you're gonna want to play second chapter, and then you have to play like the 2009 version, and that's anyhow. But this is not. There's also Hearthstone that we should talk about. So we should probably do that. There's a little bit of news, and then a whole lot of cards that we need to talk about. So let's do that.
Gadgets and Gazette always gets the scoop.
So we got ourselves a little bit of a balance patch. Not too much, an amuse-bouche of a balance patch, if you will. I don't know if I'm using that right, but it makes me feel smart to say it. So that's what we're going to do. And maybe you got me in a French mood now, I guess. So that's where we are. So we got a couple of balance changes. Most of them are for Wild, which is not a sentence that we say very often. We did get one change for Standard, which we already alluded to, which is that War Master Blackhorn has been changed to only destroy cards that cost 2 or less in decks and no longer hits. And that feels a little bit more fair. At least it gives kind of a way to hide the cards and have some place that they're safe, and not have some of these games where all of a sudden you play it and the opponent's hand disappears.
Yeah.
and then they can't do anything anymore. Like hitting in deck is one thing, like you could have just not drawn those cards. Hitting hand is both a real and perceived loss when you do that. And hitting multiple cards in hand is something that even Magic doesn't do. And like hand attack in Magic is like a normal part of the game, unlike this one. So I think
Unless
that's,
Magic generally only does it if the opponent is picking the cards. And that's
Yeah.
not really something that they can implement. So
right. Well, now they can, but yeah.
sure.
But not on the opponent's turn.
Yeah. The hand part is the element that feels the most like this is neutral discard. And I compared Blackthorn to Geist because it's the same kind of thing, right? Geist hit both hand and deck. But I believe Geist also was only things that originally cost 1, not things that got reduced. Maybe I'm mixing that up. Maybe that got changed later on. But at any rate, Geist had a specific purpose, and it was Jade Idol. And that's largely what it was used against. It was, this is for a Jade Idol deck. And occasionally it'll affect other things. Ones can be good, but decks usually aren't reliant on a ton of ones. And if they are, that's going to be more fringe. With this being 2 or less, that then just is a huge swath of so many decks. And certainly anything trying to be combo-y, the fact that it affects things that do get reduced to 2 or less, right? So, and Megasa, you mentioned like aggro decks a lot of times. So it was just so broad. Taking away the hand element takes away some of that broad brush that it does. And like, yes, it's going to be still powerful in certain instances, and I think against the things they're trying to hit. But as you were saying, Wicked, like it now gives a window, right? You can try and turbo draw or keep or whatever your things in your hand that would otherwise get hit. And I take it, Megasa, that you're playing Discover Hunters, partially because it's like, okay, we're not getting our hand hit anymore. We can manage.
Yeah, I've run into this card since the nerf with both Arcwing Mage and Discover Hunter, but less often. I think it also just was a play rate hit.
Yeah.
With the Arcwing, at least one of the times that I saw it, I had enough in hand that I was still able to pull off my win. I think one of them I just had enough in hand and I just lethaled the next turn. Another one, I was able to find enough with like the Alter Time that was now the only card left in my deck. And I did have a game yesterday versus what was basically a Protoss Mage, but with the quest instead of Protoss, and it killed with Asina eventually. But first it had like all the armor gain and freezing.
Oh yeah, I mean everything just runs the armor, the Protoss armor card because it's armor. I mean even regular Protoss, like the Toki Mage would do that too. It was just running the Protoss.
They
armor
were also
stuff.
running Toki. I mean they were just like doing all the things. They got 3 chalices early on, so that was just brutal. And just froze me out of the game. And then finally I'm like, all right, looking at my deck, is there anything I can draw? And then they Blackhorn and my deck is gone almost entirely because I had drawn I had drawn like all my 3s and 4s already. So I was like, okay, this is probably not going to work. I did stay in a bit just out of curiosity and then they did finally kill me with Asina. I have that list Wicked. I mean, they did not accept my friend request, and I wouldn't have either if I were them, out of fear of flaming. But I saw a lot of it. And so, I mean, that showed me that like Blackhorn can still have a purpose, but it gives a fast deck an opportunity to just be in range by the time that it gets played.
Well, it's also slower, right? Because it isn't having an immediate, like, getting rid of half of your opponent's hand is effectively an immediate impact. And just getting rid of what's in deck isn't actually changing anything in the current state of the game. It's just changing potential draws coming forward. So I think that's also just taking away a whole bunch of options that your opponent had been storing in their hand, it's a big deal. So I looked up Skulking Geist, and it did just say 1 cost. Now, I think the couple things that happened is, one, I don't think that cards were discounted in deck the way that they are now. And also, it's the or less that makes Blackhorn different, right? Because if you discount, you're often not stopping at 1, unless it's something like an Aviana, where it's like all your spells cost 1, or shuffle however many legendaries into your deck that cost 1, right? So normally, if you're discounting, you're going to go down to 0, and this is where you really get hit by discounting all the way down also. So that, I think, is why that felt worse. And again, it was there as a counter to Jade Idol. So that was the kind of, you probably wouldn't even play it otherwise if you were playing it. I think the other thing that Blackhorn is useful for in the Quest Warrior specifically was getting rid of all of the cards that were between you and Time Warp at the end of the game, when you hadn't drawn through your deck enough. And it still does that. And it's probably better in that deck now, because you can just keep your shield blocks and your shield slams and your safety goggles, and not have to spend a turn burning them off before you play Blackhorn, because you'll lose them. So that's probably a little bit better of play experience for that, even though that's not exactly the intended usage, but that's definitely a way that it's used. I
did see one back on playing Marin, though, right? So I feel like, it's that thing of like, well, maybe it's correct to still play Blackhorn, but people are still doing the swap.
There's a play right nerf. And I realized I misspoke in terms of, I have seen some quest mages, but this weird mage that I saw was actually an imbue mage, and that's how they were killing with Ascena.
There,
but
Quest and Imbue Mage are basically the same level of weirdness at this point. So it's still better. At least they weren't playing Whizbang, so we'll give them that much. But So the other changes that we got for Wild, and we're not going to spend a lot of time on this because none of us are really Wild grinders, but if you are a Wild player, you probably know what is going on here. But this card, Warlock, is the kind of deck that just every so often they give it more tools just naturally, and then it gets broken, and then they have to bring the power level down. So that's what's happening again. Soul Barrage is a card that used to say when you it used to be 4 mana, it used to be 5 mana. When you play or discard this, deal 6 damage randomly split among all enemies. It now is a 4 mana card that says when you play or discard this, deal 5 damage randomly split among all enemies.
So there's a card that discards the highest cost card in your hand.
Yeah.
And then Death Rattle, you get 2 back or something?
Right. Yeah.
So in this case, the reduction in mana is also a little bit part of the nerf, because it makes it harder to target that, I think.
Okay.
That would, as well as a little bit less of a damage cap. And this is also foreshadowing for the Warlock set.
Yeah. And Spirit Singer Umbra, the original Spirit Singer Umbra, which was a 4 mana 3/4 after you summon a minion, trigger its Death Rattle, is now going up to 5 mana. It's probably being used in conjunction with that same card. And then Yisiel Windsinger is a 9 mana 5/5 for Druid that used to say your spells cost 1, and now it says Battle Cry, your spells cost 1 this turn. This card is also occasionally broken, and then they have to do something about it, because Druid does. If you don't play Wild and you've played Druid at all, ever, just imagine them doing all of those things all at the same time. And something like Lysiel is very playable, and then if it sticks, then that's GG. So.
What's funny is that Isel was never played in Standard, right? It was just unplayable for the entirety of Standard. But yeah, Druid just has so many tools in its, mana cheat toolkit that getting to 9 mana and consistently drawing a thing to enable something gross is not that, I wouldn't be surprised if the deck still exists It's just that you have to play a little bit differently because now you're spending 9 of that mana on the turn you are doing your combo pop off instead of setting it up right as soon as you can. Because there's Ultimate Infestation that to still be reduced from 10 to 1, right? Deal 5, gain 5 armor, make a 5/5, draw 5 cards. I'm sure that was in there. Lots and lots of crazy stuff.
And like they had to do something to original Aviana also, which was your minions cost 1 this turn, and that they broke with the 10 drop that would either get you 7 armor or refresh your mana crystals, and then you just be off to the races. And I think they had to nerf it after that. Like these kinds of things are generally tuned for standard, and there's just so much nonsense in Wild. There's 6,000 cards in Wild right now.
Yeah.
And every one of them for Druid is broken at some point or another. So.
So that's the patch.
That's the patch. The rest of it is Battlegrounds.
Yep. And you can go read that. We will leave that as an exercise to the reader because there is a lot of it and we are not equipped to discuss it. And we have a lot of cards from Cataclysm that we need to talk about. So we're going to let you go read the Battlegrounds patch notes, and we are going to go talk about new cards that are coming in the next set.
All right, so we have quite a bit to talk about. Now, as a reminder, the way that things are being revealed is a little bit different, so we don't necessarily have the full sets. We do have the full sets for some of them. I think we have the full set for Hunter at this point and the full set for Priest, but not for Mage or Warlock. And then we have a few sort of like miscellaneous cards for other classes and neutrals, and we'll talk about however much we have time for. But we're going to start by going through Hunter, Mage, Priest, and Warlock. So I wanted to start with Hunter because it's looking very smorky and I approve. So we had already mentioned before, both of the legendaries had already been revealed. For Hunter, that was Abyssian, which was the 7-mana 6/6 Battlecry. Your dragons have rushed this game. While in hand, play a dragon to become a 12/12 dragon. That itself gets rushed. By the way, the supply run, which is the Shatter that does a hand buff, that should work with these transforming dragons. Velarok originally didn't work with buffs when it transformed, and then there was a patch where they said, oh, that was a bug, he should have buffs when he transforms. So this like 12/12, it's not that it's set to 12, it's that that's the new base stats. So it should, if you've done supply run and given it +2/+2, now be a 14/14.
Nice.
I mean, realistically, it's probably going to transform before you can get supply run to unshatter. Realistically.
That's also true. But if you drew it with supply run, right? Because supply run also draws you cards, draws you minions. So, and we got some more things to go in that vein. So, another card that transforms into a dragon. Here we have a Stone Talon Striker. 3 mana, 3/3 taunt. While in hand, play a dragon to become a 6/6 dragon with taunt. And that is still 3 mana. There was also Ebon Scale Scout, 6 mana, 4/4, Battlecry, deal damage equal to this minion's attack. While in hand, play a dragon to become an 8/8 dragon. So that is one where the hand buff definitely does matter, right? Because you're dealing damage equal to the minion's attack. By the way, that can go face.
It sure can.
Yep. And Dios is in standard, and you're probably playing Ysera in this deck because it's a dragon.
Oh no, we're just killing them.
No.
You know what? Let me have my bad hunter bruise, please. Sidisi said this. Sidisi said this on his stream. He was also thinking about Dio, so I'm not like that crazy for bringing it up.
Because he only plays Hunter, so he has to play a lot of flavors of Hunter, and he gets tired of the best one after a while.
He's also plays slow decks, and if he wasn't stubborn, he would be a priest main by now. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, he is to hunter what I am to priest to some extent, but
Yeah.
One way that could make that work a little better is Tolvir Carver, which is a 3-mana 3/2 battle cry. Choose a card in your hand at the start of your turns, reduce its cost by 1. So it's watercolor artist for anything that you have in your hand.
Yeah. I mean, look, if a thing that runs more expensive dragons is going to work, it's because of this, right? Because you can, if you could consistently draw the Acera and start reducing it so that you can get that ramp out earlier, then maybe there's something there. But I think that just a straight dragon hunter, like, there's enough good neutral dragons
that are relatively cheap. Yeah.
That you're going to be able to transform all these dragon cards, no problem. And they're huge, even unbuffed. And I don't know how good the shadow card is going to be, right? I don't know how easy it's going to be to make that sliding happen, but certainly the fact that things like Ebb and Scale go based off power, the fact that you could be getting an extra +2/+2 might be a big deal. And I don't know, Hunter's looking quite strong to me. Yeah.
We have, for example, a new, we're losing Gift Wrap Whelp, but we're going to get Carrier Whelp, which is a 1-mana 1/2 dragon. Battlecry, get a random, this is neutral. Battlecry, get a random dragon that costs 3 or less. So that gives you 2 cheap dragons. There's a bunch of other ones. We also have, a bunch of dragons staying, such as Petal Peddler, Whelp of the Infinite, Whelp of the Bronze,
Brightwing.
Brightwing.
I mean, that's coming in, not staying, but
coming in. Yeah.
Portal Vanguard, the kind of the big one, right? Where it's 3-mana 4/3. If you're holding a dragon, refresh 2 mana crystals. Like that's probably what you're looking for, right? In this type of a thing, because it's just tempo, which is what Hunter's going to want for the most part.
Absolutely. So I think that there could absolutely be a dragon hunter, by the time, if you, at the top end, everything gets rush. We have a spell called Earth and Roar, 1 mana, set an enemy minion's health to 1. If you're holding a dragon, pick another. This is probably why the Varanus left. That was the hunter core card that set enemy minions health to 1. So instead we have Earth and Roar now, which only costs 1. You do that plus, why am I blanking on the name of it? Deal 1 damage, summon a 1/1 rush.
Yeah.
Yep.
That one.
Yep. That one. That's very clean. And there's plenty of other ways to deal just a little bit of damage. So, and you could even target that. So there's this dragon deck, right? We have lots of little dragons, lots of powerful dragons. I think it's probably a pretty fast dragon deck, but, I'm sure we'll build it other ways. You still have Prescient Slither Drake, right? There's going to be lots of ways to build this. But we also have kind of like a 1-drop theme going on. So one of these is just Reinforcement Rallier. It is a 1-mana 2/2 elusive.
Yeah.
The Battle Mage in Shambles.
That sure is a hunter card. Yeah.
1-mana 2/2 elusive. And there's also a card called Confront the Tolvir. 3-mana spell. Replay each 1-cost card you've played this game, targeting enemies if possible. That is not only spells.
It sure isn't.
That is also minions.
So, you could get a curve that is 1-drop, double 1-drop, Confront the Tolvir, and just have a huge board quite early on. I wonder if, and this wouldn't be uncommon, right, for Hunter, that you just you play good, efficient, aggressive 1-drops, regardless of whether they're dragons, but then you have enough dragons to make sure that all your stuff works. And, maybe you're running that thing where you draw up to 3 cards in hand, right? If if it is lower to the ground and you only have like Abyssian and Ebon Scale as your expensive things, you know, because they're just trucks. I could see a world where you have openers like that, where you just flood the board very, very quickly with powerful 1-drops.
Yeah. Also, Halazi the Lynx is coming back into core, and that puts a whole bunch of 1-drops with Rush into your hand when you play.
Sure.
I don't know. I'm not saying that that's necessarily what we're going to do, but I think that's the reason that went into core is because of this card.
I think the reason that went into core is for the quest that they put out in the mini set last time, because
maybe
it fills your hand. But
I think they're just as soon have everyone forget that they printed the quest and move on. But yeah,
there's a card from the last mini set that no one remembers exists. Raptor Nest Nurse, 1 mana, 1/1 battle cry, get a random 1-cost minion. Death Rattle, get a random 1-cost spell.
Yeah, that's big.
Yeah.
Keldori Fletcher, your hero power costs 0 while your hand has 3 or less cards. That is a 1-drop.
Yeah.
Getting another one of those is a big deal. Yeah.
You might be able to mostly get away with having odd cards and then play Gen, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But that would upgrade your hero power. I guess I should say what that is if I'm going to
reference
tease it. So, Gen is a neutral legendary. Gen Cursed King, 4 mana, 5/4. While holding this, if the rest of your hand is all even or all odd, transform into the Worgen King. And again, Worgen King is a 4 mana, 6/5. Battlecry, upgrade your starting hero power. It costs 1.
It is, Gen Baku combined if you get it to transform. So, yeah, I'm excited about that one. As I was mentioning before we hit record, I think I'm slightly worried about the number of things like this where it could dramatically impact your game, like when you are able to turn your deck on, right? Gen works this way. There's another neutral legendary. This works this way. The Mage legendary kind of works this way, right? Where it's like there's an effect you desperately want. This was kind of the case with the Hunter legendary that like gave spell damage to everything in your deck, and then they made it deck in hand.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like Lady in White, which buffed everything in your deck, and then nobody played it because you played it and then you died.
Yeah.
I think that the big thing, and again, if you played back in Witchwood, you probably had a visceral response to seeing this card because Gen and Baku were everywhere for that entire year and then had to be rotated early.
I love
the difference between this and original Gen and Baku is that those were start of game effects, which means that you can build your deck. If you are building your deck in a way that you're getting all odd or all even, you can build your deck in a way that's taking advantage of that, because if you're building all odd, then you go 1-drop hero power 3-drop, and if you're going all even, then you go hero power 2-drop hero power 2-drop on 3. This is not going to allow you to do that. However, you also don't need to build your deck such that it's all odd or even. You just need to build your deck such that you can get down to 1 card aside when you play Gen. Because if you only have 1 card in your hand, then the rest of your hand is all odd or even, because that's how math works, and then you get to transform.
True. I hadn't thought about it that way, but that's very true. I was thinking just like if you only have a couple things here or there that are different, right? If you're like, oh, well, we're mostly evens, we have a couple odds that are important, right? Something like that. But yeah, maybe it will just be for the aggressive decks more rather than for... Honestly, I kind of would love that it's easier for the aggro decks to use, because it doesn't matter for Demon Hunter since their hero power already costs 1, but like a rogue that triggers this and then gets a 1-cost 2-attack dagger.
Yeah,
I'm interested in that.
Yeah, I mean, I see a lot of people saying, "Oh yeah, well, we'll get to priest anyway," but like, "Oh yeah, well, we're gonna have 1 mana 4 healing." Like, no, you're not. Like, you're not building this for like the priest here. I mean, because tank up, which was the warrior upgraded hero power, and then the priest one were very good. Like you would play, was it Baku was the upgrade? You would play Baku priest and Baku warrior, but again, you're not going to be able to build a control deck, I think, that's going to be able to trigger Gen consistently, and certainly you're not going to want to have to spend 4 mana to do it. Like we had what was like Justicar True Heart, right? That got buffed to like 5 mana, right? Didn't it? Am I remembering that right?
Yeah, but it was
When they put it back
played
in
right.
core?
Like the original tank up, rank up warrior had Justicar.
Right. But what I'm saying is that Justicar went back into core for a while,
Yes.
and it did that. Now it didn't discount your hero power to 1, right? But you just played it with no restriction, and it upgraded your hero power. It saw 0 play once it got back. I'm not saying that this is that, because reducing it to 1 is a thing, but
I mean, we've had hero cards since
having to spend 4 mana and play a minion that has to have something happen first is a real cost. And I think if you are in a class with an aggressive hero power like Hunter, and you are able to dump your hand like Hunter, then I can see it. I just don't think it's going to be everywhere, and I would be very surprised if the control hero powers see this a lot. I could be wrong. But.
Yeah, I mean, I think it will depend on how convenient it is to make a slower deck that's like mostly even cards or mostly odd cards, such that it's not much of an inconvenience to clear the way at some point. But yeah, I guess I just don't know how hard this is to activate if your deck is not committed to it, or as you say, you can easily get down to just a couple of cards. But I mean, I don't mind. I certainly wouldn't mind it if it's mostly just like Hunter, Rogue, maybe aggressive mages,
even Warlock, maybe. Like,
I guess so you don't
not
take
having
damage
to pay
anymore.
health for the and draw and pay 1, don't pay health, draw a card in an aggressive Warlock is something that they might be interested in.
But I appreciate that because it's both, right? It kind of opens up perhaps more classes that were like interested in one or the other more. But the fact that it's like, well, now you look at both. If you can make this happen, certain classes might be more interested.
Yeah.
Sing Along Buddy is rotating.
Sing Along Buddy is rotating. That is important. And I will point out for Gen Cursed King.
I thought it was one of the more recent ones.
No, that was Whizbang.
I could have sworn that it was
It
Emerald
just didn't
Dream.
see very. That's when it saw play because of
That's
Inview.
when people actually remembered that it existed. But it was in Whizbang, and then it just sat for a full year until they printed Inview.
Huh. Yeah. Okay.
It was collecting dust on the shelf of the toy shop.
It was kind of like briefly people tried to experiment with it with Papercraft Angel and like Raza before they reworked Raza and stuff like that. But yeah, people didn't really play it until Emerald Dream. I just want to point out for Gen Cursed King, he does transform and then stay transformed. So you don't have to play him when your hand fits the requirement. You just need to have gotten to the requirement at some point while he was in your hand.
That does make it much better, right? Because then it can just accidentally happen.
In the decks that can dump their hand. Yeah.
Or even that don't, I mean, right? You just it so happens that my hand is even, and you get to, right? Like,
you have to pretty reliably be able to stumble into it to be able to put this into your deck, though. Because like, if not,
you could have
then
something...
this is a 4 mana 5/4. If it doesn't transform, it's real bad. And later in the game, this matters a lot less.
I think you would have to do it with all, you're saying all even except for like 1 cost cards or something, like or all odd except for 2 drops, right? It would have to be something that's easy to dump. Not like I'm all odd except I have an 8 drop, because then I could just get stuck in your hand. So it also could be easier as we get more cards in standard. But I think early on, something like, I think a no-hand Hunter with like 1 drops, maybe dragons, maybe not dragons. The dragons might be a different deck. I don't know. Could be the same deck. And we're just playing like the Cinder, and like there's a new egg that gets +1/+1 every turn, and then if they kill it, then it summons a dragon, and like we're just doing stuff like this and hitting people in the face. And maybe our top end there is Magma, which was the Colossal we talked about a week or two ago. That just summons appendages until it is cleared. And when it dies, it gives friendly minions +2 attack, so they have to stop and kill it. So, I don't know. There is one more Hunter card, which is part of, there's this Triumph and Last Stand theme among some of the classes. So every class gets either, and we've had them all revealed for all the classes, I believe. Each class gets either a Triumph or a Last Stand, like did they succeed or sort of go down swinging in the story. So Hunter got Sylvanas' Triumph, 2 mana, deal 3 damage. If you've played another copy of this, hit all enemies instead.
Very nice.
Too bad this is not going to be in Discover Hunter. That would just be insane.
Yeah.
That would be too good, actually.
I mean, Hunter doesn't really want board clears anyway, so it's fine. Like, you only want to point that at the head, and then it's just kind of a bonus that it's hitting everybody else, so it's fine.
When they have taunts, you want to hit the whole board. Actually, and aggro versus aggro, see, here's the thing. You don't play aggro, so you never get into aggro versus aggro matchups. In an aggro versus aggro matchup, clearing their board is insane. While doing damage to their face, it's insane.
But, so it's like, it's mediocre but playable as 2 mana deal 3 damage, right? Like, that is sort of just on rate, and the fact that it can hit face, right? But sort of underrate in the not having any other effect for the first one played. But then, it's insane as deal 3 to all enemies for 2.
I mean, it's quick shot, right?
But it doesn't
very rarely drew off of quick shot. Like, I mean, lately, in like the last several years, like original Face Hunter, you drew off a quick shot all the time.
So it's core set quick shot, not Face Hunter quick shot. Yeah.
And we'll sometimes with Precise Shot, I have been known to occasionally just cast it for 3. Quick Shot will also still be in Standard, by the way, for a Hunter that's dumping its hand. I don't know if we're doing that, but
maybe Quick Shot's gonna make a resurgent return, just like Firebat did. So that's possible.
Could be. I mean, look, certainly he'll enjoy this Hunter deck.
Yeah.
And if you're running the Sylvanas sisters, then, or Windrunner sisters rather, there's Discover a Spell in there, right? I mean, anything that where you can discover a spell is another opportunity to get this Triumph, which just makes all of them all the better. There is a 2-cost dragon that's a 2 mana 2/2 Battlecry, discover a spell from your class. So now it does swap class each turn, so I don't know if you play that, but if you can discover it from your class, then you can look for another copy of this.
Does the Naga who lets you discover a spell you already played, is that rotating?
That is rotating.
Okay, thank God. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's Perils. Anyway, it's going away.
Yeah. I mean, I do wonder if they're by printing something like a mechanic like Shatter and stuff like Gen, if there's and it's hard to tell just like what the meta is going to feel like, but I do wonder if there's going to be significantly less card generation in general in Standard, the way that it's going to shake out, because you don't really print a mechanic like Shatter in general if you're not going to reliably be able to actually move the cards across your hand, which you kind of can't with card generation the way that it is right now.
Yeah, although, it's important that as long as when it enters your hand, you don't have just this huge amount of cards, right?
Yeah.
Then stuff that you get to one side will not, like,
it'll get there
way.
Eventually, yeah.
Right, yeah. But, certainly it does look like it's toned down somewhat. At least the Mage cards we have seen have 0 generation. So.
Yep. So that shall transition us into. Tell us about the Mage cards that we have seen.
Yeah, so to kick it off, there's Archmage Calic, which I alluded to. 4 mana, 4/4 Battlecry. Give all spells in your hand and deck spell damage +1. This is the human form of Kalecgos. That's why core set Kalecgos is gone. So Yeah, I think this is probably just going to go in things. I don't know that you can build a deck that like needs this to function, but you might be able to build a deck that is, decent and then quite good with Calic. We'll have to see. But there's some great stuff to go with Archmage Calic. If you've got that spell damage going.
Have some other options for spell damage.
Yeah, there's Syndragosa's Triumph. Deal 8 damage to a minion, reduce the cost of a random card in your hand by the excess damage. This is in the vein, and it's arcane. This is in the vein of an old arcane spell where you've got a minion whose size depended on the excess damage that you dealt. This is the same mana cost, also arcane. It's just you reduce something, which in some ways is better, right? Particularly if you're playing the Syndragosa deck. Notable that although things will be shifted around, if you were thinking, oh, maybe Syndragosa will have a chance now, buy one get one freeze is going, so there's no in-class copy. You will have to build an Elise deck if you want to make a copy of Syndragosa, and if they get rid of copy off Elise, then you're just not going to be copying Syndragosa. So but I mean, we had the old 4/7 spell damage dragon, and then there's also the 1 cost that if you enrage gives you +2 spell damage. So even if you don't get Calic, there's significant sources of spell damage, and now more things that can take advantage of it, whether it's Triumph reducing or Sleet Storm is a 1 cost frost spell, deal 2 damage, and then also deal 1 damage to a random enemy minion. Quite anything that has separation like that is quite good with spell damage. We already have Arcane Barrage, which is 3 cost arcane, deal 3 damage, and then 2 damage to 2 other random enemies. So that benefits very nicely from spell damage. Sleet Storm benefits very nicely from spell damage. So really appreciate, I love spell damage, and so it's nice getting all this stuff that works so nicely with it. And then here, you can send that initial damage face, and then the other one hits a random enemy minion. We also got Raincaller, 2 mana 1/4 elemental. The first time you would deal damage with a spell each turn, gain +2 attack.
If you squint, it looks like Mana Worm.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't even cost 1 wicked. Don't give me that.
It is permanent. Like, it's not until end of turn. It's permanent attack, which is not nothing.
It is permanent, yeah. But the fact that it's once per turn means that you can't just murder people out of nowhere. It's no Kiln Fiend. There used to be a card that was 2 mana 1/3. This was I don't know if this was ever good, but it was funny if you ever made it happen. A 2 mana 1/3 that just whenever you cast a spell, it gains +2 attack that turn, right?
Oh, like the 5-drop or something.
No, it was a 2 mana 1/3.
Oh, it was a 2 mana 1/3. There was something that was bigger. I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but Sorcerer's Apprentice is long gone. So those mage days are gone, and the Mana Worm days. But this might work in today's Hearthstone. And certainly it's that kind of threat, right? Where you throw it down on 2 or on 3 with a spell, and it's something that has to be dealt with, or it's going to get worse. I like better though Unstable Spellcaster. This is a 4 mana 2/5 elemental, spell damage +1, battle cry. If you've dealt damage with a spell this turn, and mage has enough 1-cost spells. Remember, we have First Flame coming back, right? Summon a copy of this. So if you are running the dragon that draws a minion, gives it +2/+2, right? Maybe you hit this. If you're not running too many minions, right? Maybe you hit this, and now there are a pair of 4/7s with spell damage +1, and you summon a copy. That's quite good. also within this set, of course, if you have played. Oh wait, no. Archmage Calic is just the spells. Sorry, I was going to say if it hit your minions, you double up. Yeah. So mostly that, right? It's spell damage +2, except it's on 2 separate bodies, harder to remove. If you can get any kind of buff on it, if you're running Xavius, which why wouldn't you be? And you get any kind of stat buff from Xavius, or even like the Reborn, right? There's a lot of Xavius hits.
Or the discount.
You'd love to copy.
Like even the discount would be pretty good on this.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So,
I will note that Khadgar is in core now. Your cards that summon minions summon twice as many.
interesting. I don't know if that's worth it for like 1 more spell damage, but it is of note. Yeah.
It is another thing that's hard to remove, I guess, but you also have to spend 2 mana putting him on the board for it. But it is worth pointing out. It's also an elemental. It works with, if we ever get an elemental mage, it works with a windswept page turner. After you summon out an elemental, deal 3 damage to a random enemy.
Sure.
An Inferno Herald is staying. After you cast a fire spell, get a random elemental and reduce its cost by 3.
I mean, a decent amount of elemental stuff is staying, just not some of the.
It's not the good stuff.
Yeah, you might still have enough to run a package just to run Conjured Bookkeeper, which draws you 2 spells. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, potentially.
Yeah.
And the Colossal is an elemental. If you Khadgar and then Volcanos, do you get 2 more appendages?
That's a great question. I don't know, because those aren't summoned.
Aren't they?
Not really, because like they're actually maybe they are. I don't think that they're technically summoned. They're just kind of part of it.
Well, I'll tell you what is summon. There's a 10 cost arcane spell, Spellweaver's Brilliance. Summon a 6/6 dragon, costs 1 less for each damage you dealt with spells this turn. Now, you might think to yourself, well, but that just is 1-to-1, right? Because you even if you play a 1-cost spell, it's only going to reduce by 1, unless that 1-cost spell does separate instances of damage.
It's damage you dealt, not times you dealt damage.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you just
even better.
Yeah. So I mean if you got spell damage on Sleet Storm, right? That's going to be 3 and then 2, so that's 5. If you have the 3-cost spell, that's 3/2/2, right? Just without spell damage, that's 7.
Yeah.
So you can play that for 3, and then you play this for 3, and then you have a dragon behind it. But I mean, and anything that's like deal to all enemies or whatever is going to probably make this free if it's more than like 1 damage.
Yeah, and we still have like Stellar Balance potentially, so you could bank that. That's 2 damage for 0.
And then 6 for 6. So yeah, it's not going to be as hard to play this as if you're in the spell damage or the not spell damage matters, but spell damage matters. Then you probably are just going to play that because it's just like going to be a free or very cheap minion that you can possibly get down very early if you're playing this correctly. Like
I think so.
Yeah.
And that might actually make the Caligos worth it, depending. Particularly because you could have, if you're running Time Twisted Seer, you could have, as you say, very early stuff where you like Sleet Storm the Time Twisted Seer to damage it, right? While dealing damage to another minion, and then you Sleet Storm their face and something else, and now you've got a 6/6 down really early on. I'm excited at the possibilities here.
Yeah, I want to try to build like a small like an elemental package. Burn spell damage is good if we can get it, but we don't have to have Calic type of mage, and see what I can come up with. And I'm sure I'll try that, and then you'll be like, hey, that's the wrong way to build it.
Yeah.
And I'm looking to thinking about Syndragosa not having the buy one get one freeze is a really big deal, but we do at least like you could play like Time Twisted Seer as a dragon that could have spell damage, and then you would still get the discount, right? because you control another dragon even if you don't have 2 of her, but you only get a discount by 2 and not by 4, which is significant. But I did want to point, like, there are other dragons that one could do to allow Sindragosa to
I had to check
work.
that Flames of Infinity happens on the end of their turn and not at the start of your turn, because that would be hilarious if it was just like, oh, my turn starts and we dealt infinite damage to a minion of theirs. We have a free 6/6
And
now.
then it should refund you mana, like when you have a solar panel on your house and then the electric company pays you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Would be nice.
And Story of the Waygate will still be here if we're generating. We are going to have less generation, but I'm just thinking, like, in terms of being able to cast a lot of spells all at once. But
Yeah,
there's less things for Story to discount, I suppose.
Mage has less, but still some, right? It still has. It loses the big ones, right? It loses the things you often chain into, like Pocket Dimension or Supernova. But
it's also losing the location
and Glyph. But in exchange for Glyph, they're getting the one that, deals 2 when you discover a spell, keeping Alter Time.
Spark of Life is still a card. Because we had all the Discover stuff in Ungoro that supported the quest, right? So we still have some of that.
Yes.
If you're playing Volcanos, you're going to end up with an Eternal Firebolt as often as not. I feel like that.
Yeah, and that didn't start in your hand after the first one.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I do wonder, like, what's going to end up being the way to go. Probably, if you run Sindragosa, it's just like as a casual add to something else, and you're not going to be focused on, like, comboing, because there's no good ways to copy, and because you're very likely to summon dragons you don't care about, or dragons that are just bodies, I guess I should say. Right, because Spellweaver's Brilliance summons a 6/6 dragon, because you're maybe going to run the spell damage dragon, so it's not like you can necessarily focus your pool of resurrects. But I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, a 10th of your deck is still kind of a big commitment for a casual ad.
I mean, look, it's still good if you're running more dragons. The like tangential use case is coming up more, right?
Right. Then you're not necessarily playing it to combo. You're playing it just as a build-a-board type of thing.
Right. In terms of the spell, yes. Yeah. And then in terms of Malygos and Sindragosa in their own right, you'll have enough arcane spells and you'll have enough dragons that it's just like, well, I stuck a dragon. Now I'm gonna do this and benefit from the effect. And if they don't clear it, then you get to keep doing crazy stuff. But it's not going to be, all right, let's wait until buy one, get one freeze cost 0, go all in on Sindragosa, don't care about Malygos, and pop off that way.
Yeah, I think they've been, a sort of theme I'm seeing in this whole set is they're giving us more damage again, but they want it to be kind of awkward to just like OTK, right? They want it to be kind of like, we can piece together a lot of damage over the course of the game, which... I can see where that's coming from a design perspective. In fact, there's a little bit of that going on with Priest. Are we ready for?
Yeah,
I mean, we were born ready.
Quick transition card. Just want to remind everyone that we have for both Mage and Priest, Fragment of Nothing, which has not made a splash yet, but might soon. That's the 4 mana 3/6 from the mini sit Elemental. After you cast a spell on a minion, draw a card. So consider that in evaluating both the Mage and Priest stuff.
Right.
Yes.
And what we're gonna do is we're gonna do what the reveal schedule did not, which is not spend 3 or 4 days between the location and the rest of the presets, so that you will have forgotten that the location exists when you're looking at the rest of the priest cards potentially. Because that's what happened to me. And it took me a minute to remember that this was here. So we're going to start here because this is where everything else matters. So Priest is getting a 1 mana location called Ruby Sanctum with 3 durability that says your next healing effect this turn deals damage instead. Very simple effect. You can do it effectively whenever you want as long as it doesn't get demolition renovated. and it lets you. I mean, we've had this on since the beginning of the game. We've had Auchenai Soul Priest. Play that, turn your hero power into 2 damage. That's a pretty simple thing. We had that with Auchenai Soul Priest Circle of Healing was a classic 4 damage board clear for Priest. So this is a very useful effect. It allows Priest to take the healing effects that it normally has and turn them into offensive tools when it needs to, which, given the rest of this kit, seems like it's going to be a pretty important way that you're going to be playing Priest. But that also gives you a way to actually end the game, which has been a problem with slower Priest decks for a long time, unless you're doing something with like Velen combo back in the day, like Cloning Gallery Priest. Oh man, I miss Cloning Priest. Anyway, we're not going there. So we have a bunch of things that are healing. So we have Mend, which is a 1 mana holy spell. Restore a minion to full health. Draw a card. If your healing effects deal damage, it's 1 mana, kill a minion, draw a card. So that's a useful effect, and you can use it either way, assuming that you've drawn the location. And the problem, I think, is that we don't have any way to tutor the location. So sometimes when you're gonna, I don't think that any of these are useless if you can't convert them to damage, but you certainly are going to have situations where you're going to want to convert them to damage. I mean, Purifying Breath, you do really want to be playing with the location because it's a 2 mana fire spell. Deal 5 damage to a minion. If it dies, restore 5 health to the enemy hero. Now, is that the worst thing in the world? Especially if they're a full health? Not necessarily. Like if you're playing this on 2 to kill something scary that they just put out that's going to snowball, it's fine. You'd much rather hit them in the face for 5 when you kill the minion, though. That's a lot better. So but again, this like the spell's not unplayable without the location, but it gets a lot better with it.
Well, and I mean, consider on 2, like you're
a priest. You haven't hit them in the face yet.
Yeah, and most of the time in general, right? Like until you start using Ruby Sanctum for face damage, you haven't done them face damage. Yeah. So at least in controlling stuff. So yeah, I mean, in Magic, there's Swords to Plowshares, which has been good always.
Yeah.
And that removes a minion from the game and they gain life equal to its toughness or something. Power. Yeah. This reminds me of that. You know, it's CAC, right? It's 5 and 5, but still very cost efficient. 5 damage for 2 mana.
Yeah. And in Magic, you can gain life above your starting life total, where you can't in this game. So it's even more of a downside there than it is here. But I mean, if they're at 30 life and you play this and you kill something, no harm, no foul. You play Power Word Shield now just to draw. It's a priest card that says draw a card on it. We'll play that. It doesn't really matter. Like it's right. it's better than a lot of the other priest draw options that we have.
And it goes
you
nicely
also
with
do have
Injured Attendant. Yeah,
we do have Injured Attendant, which this is a long tradition of. Well, a lot of them are neutral actually. But it's a 3 mana, 3/8 lifesteal with Battlecry, deal 4 damage to this minion. If you play that and then mend it, then you got a 3/8. But even as like a 3 mana, 3/4, it's a spider tank with lifesteal. That's perfectly fine. If you have any reason to care about undead, then even better.
And it heals you when it does damage to itself.
Oh,
so it's a
3
mana, 3/4 lifesteal, heal your hero 4. And then you have an opportunity to heal it back up. So
yeah. And like a lot of those were like, oh, it's a 2/6 that deals 5 damage to itself. Like this is you're left with a spider tank. It's fine. It's pretty good.
The injured cards were Tolvir, right, which is 2/6 that becomes a 2/3. There's the
Injured
3 mana 4/7, right, that becomes a 4/3 from the damage it deals to itself. And then the whale, right, that's a 4/20 that does 8 damage to itself or something, or 12 damage to itself.
10 damage to itself, I think.
10 maybe, yeah.
I don't know why. There's one other one that's somewhere between. Yeah, there have been a bunch of these. Oh, there was a 6/12 that did 6 to itself.
Yeah. But having lifesteal does mean, to your point, that it does heal you for the 4 damage, which is significant when you're playing something like this. Like getting a
Yeah.
3/4 down and healing yourself for 3, because you're a priest. You've probably been getting punched in the face early, so then being able to heal that back up is useful as well. And then you have ways to heal it further. You also have Incensed Matriarch, which is a 3/3 dragon for 4, but at the end of your turn, if this is at full health, you gain +3 health. So it's almost always going to be a 4 mana 3/6, which is fine. But if you can heal it again, then you start getting to 3/9 3/12. That's, again, the power isn't getting bigger, but it's a very annoying minion to get rid of. Now, we don't really have great dragon synergies anymore with things like Zarimi rotating out, but Dragon Priest has always been kind of a thing off and on, and maybe this is something you want to play with the 6/9. The 6/9 is not as great in Priest because you can't heal it, but it's also a 6/9 elusive for 4, so maybe you're doing that anyway.
Yeah, I don't know about this one because, like, it still only has 3 power, like 3 attack, unless you like get it really big and then like use Crazed Alchemist, which is, I will point out, it might be relevant that Crazed Alchemist will still be in standard, but so we'll have to see whether just like I do think, and I am trying to theorycraft a deck where it's just like we just have minions that are just never going to die, and that's what's going on. But yeah, I'm not nearly as high as on this one as I am on something like the Injured Attendant.
It's fine, but I mean, it's certainly in Arena this is probably going to be amazing, but but in Constructed, maybe you play this if you have a dragon deck and you need dragons. We're losing a lot of dragons, but also we don't really have a reason to play dragons in Priest right now, so it's just kind of there. But the real payoffs that we're getting for all of this healing, one of them is Cleansing Cleric, which is a 4 mana 4/5 Draenei. With Battlecry, your healing effects restore 2 more health this game.
Yep.
So another one of these cards that you really, really want to get down on curve. Because the longer that you have to wait to find it, the worse it's going to get, and you're probably building your deck around this. But this effect is very, very good, especially when you consider the location. Like, all of a sudden, the spell that deals 5, heals 5, now it heals 7, now it heals 9, and if that's getting flipped into damage, that's a near Pyroblast if you play both of these, which is significant damage, and you can kind of chain some of thie's things. Again, Atiesh is still a card that is going to be around, even though we haven't seen him much, and the weapon doubles all your healing and damage effects.
Yep.
So that's a real thing when your healing is more than your damage is more, and that's more to double. So there is a lot that you can do around this. And even if you're not doing that, like, your hero power heals you for 4 or for 6 without even having to play Gen. If you do manage to get Gen down, it's another 2, but like, Gen is more work than this. Like,
yeah,
this is doing what Gen does without all of the hoops. You just play it and it does the thing. So, well, I mean, obviously you'd like both, but you don't have to.
You'd like
do
it to
that.
cost 1.
Yeah. You would like it to cost 1, but even if it's just like 2, that's what Gen's going to do for your hero power, and you can just play it and not have to worry about all the odd and even stuff, which is going to, again, as a control deck, is going to be a lot harder to get.
Yeah. And I will point out, Devouring Plague is going to be in core.
Yes.
Devouring Plague, and this works with Lifesteal. We have this confirmed from the reveal video from the dev. Every instance of Lifesteal from Devouring Plague will heal you 3 or 5 if you've done 2 of them.
Deal 4, gain 12.
For 3 mana.
If you have Atiesh down, then it doubles the damage, and then then it doubles the healing from the Lifesteal after that.
Right.
Because they're 2 separate effects, so it's not like you double the number, you double the damage, and then whatever the healing would be from the damage gets doubled also. So it's almost certainly going to be a full clear anything with lifesteal when you have Atiyesh down, especially if it's doing even 2 more on top of it.
Yeah, a lot of incentives for Atiyesh if you can finagle running Medivh. But yeah, Cleansing Cleric, I think, also makes the lifesteal thing more appealing, because being able to do deal 3, gain 5, right, is gonna be, I think, much more appealing for modern Hearthstone, and being able to do that over and over again.
Yeah, it's I read well, in my casual perusing of Reddit, I did see a comment that was something along the lines of they finally built priest cards that didn't feel like cast-offs from Blood DK. And I have to agree with that, because they've been trying for a while. We went through Overheal. We've done a few experiments with like healing matters and stuff like that, and this feels more priesty than Overheal, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's actually just making the healing better. Now there is always a cap on that, where you're capped by your max health, but you're probably gonna get punched in the face a lot if this meta is faster, and then you'll have plenty of opportunities. So
well, and with the lethality we've seen, right, the heal needs to be able to keep up, right? And I think Priest has been getting kind of outclassed on that front.
Right.
But now if you get a Cleansing Cleric down, I mean, Black Blood looks a lot more appealing as well, right? Because it'll heal your face for 5, and then maybe be healing itself more, right? So each instance there, I think it is very, very welcome upgrade.
And then the other payoff that we have is the other legendary, which is Alexstrasza, Guardian of Life, which is a 7-mana 8/8 dragon. I'm already a fan. We're already getting, overstated minion in Priest. Imagine. Battle Cry sets your remaining health to 15. When you reach full health, deal 15 damage to your opponent. If you have Atiyesh out when that happens, they just die. Assuming that, they're not a Death Knight or whatever.
Wait, really? I thought it was just spells.
Oh, I believe it's healing effects and damage effects.
No.
I don't know that is it say spells? I thought it was your effect. I guess we should double check that. But
well, I guess the healing maybe affects the hero power.
It is just spells. It's actually not even hero power.
Okay, so never mind. Yeah, never mind. Then I got excited. Yeah, that's probably why they printed it that way. Actually,
I mean, if you're running a Sarah, you can play this with Deos, and you only get to set to 15 once, but the damage will trigger twice.
I don't think you even need to do it in the same turn, right? Because it's when it just sticks around, right? When your hero eventually gets back to full, you will deal 15 damage to them.
Correct. Yes, that's absolutely correct. No, you don't need to do it in the same turn. It would be way too hard otherwise.
Yeah, this battle cry is, I don't like, the rest of it is not contingent on Alexstrasza staying on the board. That's just kind of like a sword of Damocles that's hanging over your opponent's head for the rest of the game.
You have to find a turn to play it. But once you do, you're like, okay, once I get to full life, I'm going to deal 15 to them. And
I think if that happens while you have Deos out, you'll deal 30. No.
Because
it's not a battle cry.
Or
it's
an
not,
end of turn
it's
effect.
part of a battle cry, but it's kind of just like it's its own thing, kind of.
Right.
I feel like
you would have to set it up with the Deos, right? You would have to play Deos, Alexstrasza in the same turn. You would get set to 15 twice, and then whenever you activated it, you would get 2 of them. So that's certainly possible, and I'm sure folks will try it. But the other thing is, if you manage to do the story, it happens. So I don't know if that's reason enough to run the story, but
I'm not sure that it is. I mean,
Amara,
the story of Amara.
40.
Yeah. I mean, you should have enough healing by the time that this comes down that you shouldn't need to set yourself to 40.
Yeah, and notably, as you say, if you've been doing all these upgrades, if you are running Medivh, right, and you've got Atiyesh out, then you'll play like Devouring Plague and be at full.
Yeah, I mean, we've still got like
Yeah.
Greater Healing Potion is a card that's still in standard. I'm
Oh,
pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yep, it is.
You know,
Now, do note that Greater Healing Potion says it only heals a friendly, so you can't use that with the Ruby Sanctum. I mean, you could, and you'd kill yourself. So,
Yeah.
because I was building this, I was theory crafting Priest today, and I did notice that. So keep that in mind.
Yes.
But if you're trying to heal yourself back up to full for Alexstrasza, then it's a good option, and it does draw a card as well. So,
Yeah.
and the Lifesteal Bolt, the Mage Priest card gets way better with this if it's healing you for 5 or 7, right? After you've increased the healing effects, that's gonna get so much better. Like, you kill a minion, deal 3 damage, heal 7 every turn. Like, that's a lot to have to chew through. Like, that's almost getting to Death Knight levels, if that's what you're doing. So I think there's a lot of potential here.
Death Knight has had a lot of like increased max health stuff of late, but I have noticed a somewhat lack of its ability to actually heal itself,
Yeah.
which kind of makes the increased max health worse if you're
It's
not
been
actually
Ziliax.
gaining
It's
it.
basically Ziliax.
Yeah, exactly. We haven't had the even 4 mana deal 6 lifesteal spell, right? And that was, something you could otherwise discover to gain life.
Yeah. They are getting the
so-
Lifesteal weapon back, but I don't even know if you want to run that necessarily. It's so
I mean,
expensive.
it costs 6.
Yeah.
Usually, if you're controlling, you're going to use weapons on minions, and so how much are you really gaining? Yeah. So I feel like that is another way that they're kind of being more distinguishing. Is like, okay, well, Death Knight sometimes has lifesteal things, but doesn't have so much of ways to actually heal, and now like Priest has a lot of powerful heals.
And one thing that you can play with Alexstrasza is Medivh's Triumph, which is their Triumph card. 5 mana holy spell, deal 4 damage to all minions, costs 1 if you control a legendary card. So that makes it so you can clear the board on the turn that you Alexstrasza, which is good because you just set yourself to 15. Although if it's not on 7, you have more mana, you might heal yourself as well on that turn. But that's something to point out. Another thing to point out is that Medivh's Triumph does work if you're playing the Priest quest and the quest is up. It counts as controlling a legendary card.
I didn't know that, but that's cool.
That's great.
And
If
it's
we
all,
actually want to
early
play
spell.
the Priest quest, which we're probably not going to want to do. But yes.
Probably
not.
not, but just
But that helps significantly, right? That you have a 1-cost clear as long as your quest is still going. I think kind of more crucial is Elite's location.
Assuming that that's still a thing.
Karazhan or Atiesh also qualify. Now, of course, those are later on. If you have Atiesh out, this also does 8 to all minions, right? So it becomes a lot more of okay, I'm going to clear the board for 1 and then play my stuff afterwards. Kind of in keeping with the Medivh vein, right? Where you can drop Medivh and the Karazhan location. Yeah,
could also just
you'll
play-
have a few ways.
You could also just play Thalnos, right? 3 mana,
Yeah.
3 mana, 5 damage to the board. Cool. Like,
or Xavius, right? Like
Yeah.
I think Priest will have enough things that it's like, well, the ideal scenario, right, is you have at least location down or one of those other things where it's not a minion. But in a pinch, yeah, you can drop Xavius or some other cheaper legendary minion to activate it. And it's not the end of the world to play it for 5.
yeah. I mean, sometimes you just do that, and that's more of like, that's less of a triumph, I suppose. But you'll take it. Yeah, and we also their shatter card is Schism, which is a 4 mana shadow spell. Give a friendly minion +2/+3 and elusive, summon a copy of it. This is
when there's a place for this, it's gonna
Yeah.
be powerful.
Yeah.
There isn't really right now, I don't think. But there could be. If there is, I mean, 4 mana copy a minion is a little pricey. a lot of times, like a lot of the reason that the Elise location is really good is because you're paying 5 mana for, assuming it's a 5 mana copy. You're paying 5 mana for it, and then you're copying the really good thing on the free activation.
Mm-hmm.
This is, I mean, I don't even know if you want to give anything elusive with all the targeted healing that we have right now. Like that almost seems like a bad thing to have. But regardless, even if you're just playing like the half of it that just says copy a minion, you really have to have a minion that you want to copy to pay 4 mana to do. And I don't know what that is, but I also wouldn't be surprised if there is one, but before this card rows.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, you know, summon a copy, you just always have to keep that in the back of your mind. But I don't know that, like, I don't think we're doing this with, like, the Black Blood. Although, just to remind people, because we had this from a couple of weeks ago, the Black Blood is the Colossal, 7 mana, 4/8. After you restore health to a character, attack a random enemy minion, and it has 3 appendages that are each 1/2s that at the end of your turn restore 3 health to a random damaged friendly character. So that could be a big heal with all the other stuff we've seen.
Yeah, I mean, this is it's probably this is a lot better now that we've seen the rest of this. Like if they're healing things for 7, right? Like if that's 3 or 5, but like if you're healing for 7, right? Like so you heal your face once, you heal up to full, and then you basically heal the Black Blood back up to full after it attacks every time. Like that's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's a lot better than it seemed when it was just revealed, just thrown out there by itself to get tormented by the minions of Reddit, you know, to like, what is this thing, right? Like, understanding it with the context of the rest of the set, it does seem a lot more powerful in this context if you've managed to get the Cleansing Clerics down ahead of it.
And look, if you're in a Sarah deck, maybe that's where you run Schism.
Yeah.
And Schism actually is one where I feel like I would not be as desperate to assemble it. Right? Like, if you just have the shattered versions, you'll be like, at some point I'll have something I'm interested in making elusive, right? Maybe even you just curve Injured Attendant into the buff. And then, yeah, you save the copy for Black Blood or something else, right?
Yeah. I want to put a couple more cards that I've been looking at when I'm trying to theory craft stuff with like Ruby Sanctum, although I was coming to like, I don't know if I want to have it like we need to have Ruby Sanctum, but Amber Priestess is a 2 mana 1/4 that went with that sort of like hand buff package that restores health equal to its health. So that could be a decently high amount. We have Flash Heal.
Yeah.
In core.
Flash Heal does go face. Yeah.
And Flash Heal does go face. So, yeah, there are definitely some options, and I have a theory craft right now that has 43 cards in it because I have like 2 different directions and I can't decide which way, so I have to build 2 different decks.
I don't know if this will be worth it because it is mana excessive, but there is also, I think, Welcome Home still staying, right?
I'm pretty sure it's supposed to, yeah.
Yeah.
And that reopens the location. So if you do need to do some extra Ruby Sanctuming in one turn, that's an option.
Why would you need to do that a second time? Is it just your next?
It's just your
next.
Oh, it's just your next. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, no, if it was the whole turn, that'd be insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then I would definitely be thinking OTK here. But as it stands, I think if we're playing this in an offensive deck, we're doing it kind of like we were saying with the Mage, where you're piecing together damage over multiple turns, or you're also having big minions that are never dying, or you're doing this in a more controlling thing where if we don't have as much in the way of OTKs, but there is still a lot of damage, that combination is the type of meta that a priest that's healing a lot would be good in, if we can figure out the win condition. Which maybe Alex is helping with, or, maybe we're doing something medieval. We'll figure it out. Maybe we're resurrecting the 8/10 death rattle dinosaur Atlasaurus thing with Kalia Menethil.
Yeah. I mean,
well,
even like Void Shard, Void Shard gets a lot better, right? If you're healing 6 or you're healing 8 off of the Void Shard, like
sure.
that's it. I don't know if we're doing deal 4 heal 4, but if we're doing deal 4 heal 6 or deal 4 heal 8, that makes it better. Same thing with Moonwell. Moonwell's a card that and Tyrande is staying, right?
Yes.
Tyrande is staying.
Yeah. So that's also, how does that work with Ruby Sanctum?
I think it doesn't.
Okay. That's sad.
I'm not positive, but I think it doesn't. Because I was considering this in terms of like, oh, if you like Deos, upgrade your hero power, and then in that same turn activate the Sanctum to hero power their face, would it? And I think what it would do is it would deal damage and then it would heal. So
that's what I think as well, but we'll find out. Yeah.
Time to make you sad, Wicked.
Oh no. Well,
we already talked about
Rogue
cards. Yeah, this is a different kind of sad.
Okay.
Do you remember Ticketus?
Yeah.
Actually, I guess it's not Ticketus so much as Ham the Hungry. Just a lot of ham. We got...
that doesn't seem very kosher.
The Warlock Colossal. Cho'Gall Mastermind. Does cost 9. So, happening later on. 9 mana 6/6 Colossal 2, which means 2 appendages. Your arms and soldiers destroy minions in the enemy's deck instead. What is that instead of? Well, Cho'Gall's arms are 1 mana 1/1 at the end of your turn. Destroy the minion to the right to gain +2/+2. So in terms of the Herald upgrades, right, it becomes a 2 mana 2/2 that destroys to gain +4/+4, and then at least I assume the mana cost upgrades as well, yeah, and then 4 mana 4/4 that gains +8/+8. So fully heralded, you're getting a pair of 12/12 arms along with Cho'Gall Mastermind. And
importantly, they're named Cho's arm and Gall's arm.
Indeed, yes. and yeah, because of Cho'Gall themselves, they will destroy minions in the enemy's deck. So that's gonna destroy 2 minions in the enemy deck. Just him.
It's always gonna be my cleansing clerics every single time.
Every single time it's gonna be right.
But of course, if you are able to, I don't know, diverge Cho'Gall into, say, a pair of 4 or 5 mana 3/3 Cho'Galls, I don't know that it'll be good, but there will be a lot of noms happening.
And there is, if you can get a soldier out, which is the soldiers are the same as the arms, but they come from the Herald cards. So if you can get one of those out when you Cho'Gall, it will also nom from the deck. And those are the main times when you're going to have the arms actually doing the eat the minion to the right. And that's when you're like, oh, hey, eggs, eggs exist.
Yeah, I mean, it may well be that you do more of an aggressive deck just for the heralds along the way, right? Yeah, an egg deck where you eat the minions, you get these big soldiers, because there's the neutral herald cards, right? The taunt and the one that draws your Deathwing. There's also, or does it draw Deathwing or just reduce it? It maybe just reduces it.
It just reduces it. Yeah.
And then Warlock gets a 2 mana 2/1 Shadowsworn Disciple, Battlecry, Herald Cho'Gall, Death Rattle, restore 3 health to your hero. Sure. And Shrine of Twilight, a 4 mana 2 durability location that you tap to Herald. Cho'Gall, which is silly. Right? Like, you set up an egg, like Megasa was saying, and then you herald, positioning is going to be key, but then you herald Cho'Gall.
The other order, isn't it? Because don't the
It
heralds
might
always
have to be.
the
Yeah,
heralds
yeah.
always summon all the way to the right? I don't know, coming out of the location, that might be different.
Coming out of the location, I think it's just immediately to the right, because that's how other locations work.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. I would expect it would be that way, but at any rate, the fact that it's a location means that you can save one to do the turn that you play Cho'Gall, which means that you will be eating an extra minion from the opponent's deck.
Do the arms upgrade on the board if you herald after it's out?
I don't think so. I think it's future ones after you herald to upgrade. It's future ones are upgraded.
Right.
Yeah. And I believe I have to double check, but from the video, this was revealed in one of the reveal videos. But yeah, positioning will be key, but I think that it comes out directly to the right of the location, so you can just like keep nomming the eggs. But
it also just means that Warlock has more heralds than the other classes.
Yeah.
Because this location has 2 durability, right? Like, if you find a shrine, you have an upgrade after you activate it twice.
And Welcome Home is the card too.
Yeah, indeed. I don't know that that's necessary, but yeah, certainly you could do that, and maybe that would end up being worth it. I don't know, but I mean, looking at this, you're gonna have Cho'Gall as a 9, Deathwing as a 10. It feels like you could pretty easily sneak Elise into here. And yeah, whether it's aggressive or has aggressive curves, right, with eggs, or if you just go more controlling, I feel like this supports both.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is also heralding Deathwing, right? And Deathwing seems to be a powerful card, right? So if we're going for a later game.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be like, if you get Shrine of Twilight, your pace of heralding could be quite quick. And you could have some very early fully upgraded Deathwings, right? Because if it's fully upgraded and then you play the other legendary, that will reduce Deathwing's cost by 4, right? So yeah, spooky stuff. But besides the heralds, there's also some other stuff going on. We have Rafam's Last Stand, which is 3 mana spell, no spell school, deal 2 damage to 2 random enemy minions, upgrades each turn. I believe that's just while it's in your hand, but I guess I'm not positive.
I think all the upgrades each turn are only in your hand.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a really harkens back, isn't it? Right, to the first time we saw the League of Evil.
Yeah, from like
the schemes.
Yeah, the schemes that would upgrade every turn. Yeah, that is a deep cut. Yeah. I also love that it's Rafam's plural.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, this was the last stand of the Rafams from across the timeways before they got destroyed by Cho'Gall.
Yeah. So, might be good. Not totally sure on that. I feel like it's a bit meta dependent, and yeah, not really sure what deck is going to want that, but could see it going either way. We also have Disposable Acolytes, a 2-mana shadow spell. When you play or discard this, summon 2 random 1-cost minions. Okay, more discard stuff, right? Seems reasonable.
The flavor text is getting me, though. Did we learn nothing from the Diablo 4 opening cinematic?
We did get... So Nate Kaplan, who was in this reveal video, he was like, I'm not going to give anything away. I'm just saying there's a final reveal stream that'll have more Warlock cards in it with Kibler and Cora. So...
He's just going to burn them anyway, so why save them?
Well, and look, there's also Duke from Below, a 4-mana 2/2 rush. has +2/+2 for each card you've discarded this game. I think we can guess there will be some more discard things, much to the chagrin of Wild.
Right. Which may have also been something to deal with the timing of this Wild nerf, because it's things were about to get very bad.
I'm also just going to put out there that hand targeting exists now. And something we've never previously been able to do is specifically say, I want to discard this card, right? It's always, your highest or your lowest, right? Those have been their sort of attempts at letting you target things to discard in your hand.
Targeted hand discard with Malkazar's Imp is a terrifying prospect.
Right? I mean, look, I just don't see why they wouldn't do it if they have that technology now, right? Yeah. So, and then the final Warlock card here, I quite like. Eldritch Tentacles. 6-cost shadow spell. Deal 3 damage to all minions. Repeat this with 1 less damage. So it will deal 3, then 2, then 1, then 0.
Total.
Probably doesn't actually do the 0, but yeah.
Yeah. So it does 6 and 3 procs, and it does resolve death rattles and things in between.
Yes, in the way of Defile. So quite good for dealing with sticky boards, which is a plus. And 6 for 6 damage AoE is like reasonable at any rate. So just even better, the fact that it hits things in between. If you manage to have spell damage in Warlock, then it gets even better, but that's not going to come up much.
Yeah, I mean, and it's probably going to wipe out. I mean, the spell damage you're going to have is probably going to be like Thanos, which is going to get wiped out in the first proc anyway.
Yeah, but it still gives you an extra proc, I think.
It probably would. It would go 4, then 3, then 2, then 1.
Probably not, right? Because
wouldn't it repeat once?
Well, it would. I don't know. Actually, it would be interesting to see how it would go, but I don't know. That's we need to test that in the Innkeeper or something, I guess. But
yeah, but we missed an important one.
Yes,
which is Cursed Chains.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah. Whoops.
Yeah.
Another 2-cost shadow spell. This one more controlling. Take control of an enemy minion until the end of their next turn. It can't attack this turn. So this is not I'm going to steal your minion and hit with it. This is I'm going to steal your minion just for a little bit.
Well, I'm going to steal your minion so that I can Herald Cho'Gall and eat it, is basically what you're doing.
Particularly that. But even in the case where you are just taking it away from them for a bit, it's not terrible, right? Because they don't get it on their turn until the end of their turn. But I expect with the amount of heralds you have, you will pretty consistently be just eating whatever you take.
And even if not, like, if there's some sort of like a setup type thing where, your opponent's putting some sort of a big setup piece for a combo on board and you want to just, you're not doing that next turn. Like, I'm going to get a turn to figure out how to deal with this, but you're not doing it for a turn. Then it'll buy you a little bit of time in the worst case scenario. I mean, if nothing else, you're at least like neutralizing a big minion that could be hitting you in the face and just saying that's not going to hit me in the face.
Yeah, and maybe it has taunt, and then they have to kill their own minion to get through it. And all right. Well, we had. Do we have any last thoughts on Warlock?
No, I think we're good.
Okay. So I don't know that we need to go through all of these because we'll be talking more. We can't announce details yet in terms of what's going to happen with theory crafting, but they did say that it will be next week. So stay tuned for what the details are with that. And but by the time we record next week, it will have happened one way or another. We'll have
I think it's safe to say no matter what happens, we're not recording on the night of theory crafting. That's not a thing that's happening. So
we are not Blizzlet. Yeah.
So we'll stay tuned to our Discord or Blue Sky to see what's happening there. But in any case, we'll have more to talk about, having seen stuff in action one way or another. So I don't know if there's any like particular triumph or last stand cards we want to call out, but there's also some neutrals that we can go through.
I mean, the main thing I think deserves attention is Viranoth. I don't know if we want to end on Viranoth.
I think we probably do. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there might be like a couple neutrals. Just want to quickly call out Sheltered Survivor. 2 mana, 2/3 battle cry. Choose a card in your hand to shuffle into your deck. Draw a card. This gives anything tradable for 2 mana, essentially. So decks that don't want to draw patches have an option now. Just any deck that doesn't want to draw patches. I don't know what that is right now, but it'll have 2 years in standard. I'm sure there'll be something. So
no more tickets. It's the flavor text.
Wait, guys. Gemstone Hoarder. We missed this. 3 mana, 3/4 battle cry. Choose a card in your hand to discard.
Oh,
Death Rattle. Get it
brilliant.
back. It costs 1 less.
Yeah,
there it is.
There it is.
And you can get it back to do it again. Yeah. All right.
And it costs 1 less, right? So there are ways to discount some of these things. So you don't even necessarily need something like a Sarah for some of these things.
Yeah.
There are valid reasons to want to discount a card in your hand by 1, and being able to actually hit the one you want instead of hoping and crossing your fingers is an improvement.
I could rapid fire give thoughts on Last Stands if you want to.
Sure.
Run through them. Talangi's, I don't think is terribly playable. It's like dependent on a go wide DK, which we haven't seen in a bit, and it doesn't kill the opponent. It just makes them sticky. It gives all of them the Death Rattle, summon a random 4-cost minion, cost 5, 2 Unholy Runes. Rockcigar's Last Stand deals damage to all minions. Draw a card for each that died. Immolation Aura died for this.
Yep. It also costs 2.
Yeah. I mean, I think you might do a similar thing as Immolation Aura. It just works differently, right? Where you play Thalnos and this, and you just like kill a bunch of things, draw a bunch of cards. A little scared of this one. We'll have to see. It's one of those where it's like
a lot worse with the 1/1 pirates rotating out, though.
Yes, but it could situationally, like, meta dependent, right? If the meta is good for this kind of clear, then it will be quite good because it draws a bunch of cards.
Yeah.
The Paladin one is maybe the best one. It's up there. Gelbin's Triumph, 1 cost, get a random Paladin aura. It lasts an additional turn. Amazing.
All the auras are pretty good, so
yeah,
you're not going to go wrong with just getting any of them, and some of them are better than others, obviously. But
yeah,
can you get the Gelbin legendary ones? I don't think you can, right? Like, you can't generate those.
I don't think so.
And those
because
are the ones you
like
probably wouldn't want to
card.
generate. Life-saving aura is going. Crusader aura is going.
It's literally just acceleration, chronological, and resistance, unless we get something new that we haven't seen yet.
But so I think this
those
is
are
relevant.
all fine.
You can hit the Gelbin ones, and if you trade them, they keep the lasts an additional turn.
But are those you can't? I don't think you can generate the Fabled cards, can you?
Oh, it's get. I thought it draws. Okay,
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not draw.
Well,
you're
all right.
making
so
one. Yeah.
Still makes it consistent, right? That you and yeah, getting an extra one. Actually, in some ways, that's better than if it drew, because then you're keeping them in the deck for Gelbin to find, but then you get an extra one.
Yeah.
And there might be a new Paladin aura, right? It's certainly something they've been doing. So I kind of expect with a bunch going out that there will be at least one new Paladin aura, but we'll have to wait and see on that.
Yeah, we've only seen 4 out of 10 Paladin cards so far.
What's a Jara's Triumph?
Shuffle 1 mana, shuffle 5 random minions into your deck that cost 8 or more, double their stats.
Great, so we don't care about that one. I'm glad to see Druid doing that. The Rogue one, again, meta dependent, could be quite good. Has tradable 2-cost spell, Corona's Last Stand, destroy a legendary minion. Look, people like running legendary minions, and they're often big, so being able to just destroy one is good. This effect is good sometimes in Magic, right? But again, it depends on the meta.
Yeah, I mean, it's 2 mana, kill a Colossal.
Yes. Also that. So,
And if you
Yeah,
have any sort of a cycle rogue type thing, you can trade it and get your 1 mana cycling. So
Murden's Last Stand just seems good.
9 mana nature spell, draw 2 cards, but it costs 1 less for each time a friendly character attacked this game.
yeah,
So,
that's free.
it costs 0.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, look, sometimes you'll be desperate, but I feel like it's very easy for Shaman, particularly if there's a go wide Shaman, to have a lot of attacks, and we've seen Shaman has Wind Fury things with Murden's weapon, right? They've got a 0 cost spell that gives themselves attack. So
yeah. I like the flavor of these two, right? Because the Dragonfight classes all have a Triumph card because they were able to, like in those ones, the Time Ways heroes were able to triumph and then they can fight for good. Whereas the
it's not all like that, right? Because like Ajar's got a Triumph, right?
Yeah, but Druid is a Dragonfight class.
Oh yeah. Why is Ajar triumphing?
You were thinking the other Naga.
Oh, this is the other Ajara. Okay.
Yeah. It's confusing.
Okay. Yeah.
It is confusing. Yeah. Because we've had multiple. There's a multiverse going on. We're having a little bit of the Marvel issue where we've got multiple versions of characters. But then all of the Time Ways heroes for the Deathwing aligned classes put up a last stand, and this is their like heroic going out, right? Logash's Last Stand, 5 mana, give a minion Death Rattle, summon a random minion from your hand. So it can be a very expensive Dirty Rat. It would then be from the opponent's hand if you put it on the opponent's minion, because the Death Rattle on their card says from your hand.
Sure.
But
more likely
that's not the main reason we're doing it. Yeah.
You've got something that can attack, and you put this on.
Yeah, or you want to cheat out Tortola.
Oh God,
well,
that's still around.
rotating.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's not rotating.
No,
shoot.
That's Ungoro. That's sticking around.
The other ways to cheat it are rotating.
So this is Chemspell.
It's a little worse than Chemspell.
Chemspell at home.
It is Chemspell at home. Yeah, but
it's Chemspell, but you actually have to run other minions, and Tortola needs to be the only thing in your hand. It doesn't care that it's the highest. So
yeah,
I
think it's awkward because you need something on the board to put this on, but then you only want it to hit an expensive thing. So then how many low-cost minions do you run in this deck? Like, yeah. I'm not upset that it's awkward.
Yeah, if you've got spells that summon minions, you could put it on, but we'll see. I think it's okay for it to be bad.
Yep. But then, okay,
right.
Now I think we are ready.
We're ready. It's time.
How do you pronounce this? Is it Viranoth? Viranoth?
That's what I'm going with. Yeah.
At any rate, Vyra, not Viranoth, is a 6 mana 6/6 elemental neutral legendary battle cry. If the total cost of your starting minions was 100, your starting minions in your original deck, split 100 stats among minions in your deck. Now, those stats are split evenly between attack and health and between the minions left in your deck. So you're not going to just like randomly get all of them on one minion. Not that would be super likely anyway.
Just get like a Grom with all 100 stats and just get them.
Just all in attack. All of it. Plus 100 attack. All on your Grom. Yeah. Excellent, Trollden. So it won't quite be like that, but so it'll depend on how many minions are left in your deck, of course. And this is exactly 100, by the way, not 100 or more.
Mm-hmm.
So even in Wild, Ceaseless is not going to help you, right? Because Ceaseless is going to automatically put you over the 100. There will be a counter in the UI.
Thank God.
The deck builder. Yeah,
I was gonna say, like, people are gonna need help, or this is gonna be like the most net decked thing. So one person does the work, and everyone's like, "I guess this is what we're doing." Because like anytime you're messing around with like, I want to do this other minion instead. It's like, well, I better do something that's the same cost, or else, I need to take
I should already be
this
doing
out
that.
and put in two cost ones instead of this 4-cost minion. Oh wait, except I can only have 30 cards, so like a mess, a complete mess. So yeah,
Yep.
glad to hear there's a counter.
There is a counter. This is wacky. I was saying some people say like this feels like a custom card. I kind of agree, but I don't see that as like a negative necessarily. But it's just silly. I do like that it says, right, the total cost of your starting minions was 100. That means that you can't like only run Varanoth and like a charged minion in Wild or something, and that's it.
It also
right?
means
like
it also means you can't only run Varanoth and like a lot of cheap things. I think.
Right.
I mean, I haven't done the
right.
math.
To get 100 over 30 cards, if every single one was a minion, you'd still need an average of higher than 3 mana cost for your minions.
I will
if,
point
like,
out that
20 cards are a minion, then you need an average of 5 for your mana cost.
Rafam gets you to 55 off the jump. I'm just saying.
I don't know if those are going to be in the same thing. I mean, it is interesting, right? If you have fewer, more expensive minions and you drop this, they get more stats. Perhaps this contributes to Alakir not being around.
Perhaps.
But also, how are you playing a whole bunch of big minions and not dying?
Well, spells.
I know, but
Traditionally, how that goes.
Yeah, but I mean,
and nowadays spells and locations and
and weapons and yeah. I guess. I mean, it still seems ambitious. Like,
sure.
I mean, I guess Druid can get away with it probably. I mean, Druid is almost certainly one of the candidates for this, just because they tend to have the biggest minions, and they don't really have ramp to get there right now that we know of.
And remember, there's tricks you can play, right? You've got the dragon that costs 7, but you can play
really
for
costs
4.
Yeah.
You've got in Shaman. I mean, I don't know if this is gonna be a thing for Shaman, but there's the Shaman one that for times you've overloaded, it reduces in cost, and otherwise it's a 6 cost for 6 taunt elusive, something like that.
Maybe this would be the only reason we would run that new 9 mana giant that discounts best than the last card you played.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think there's a lot of ways you can end up being sort of clever about it, yet doing things that maybe allow you to, juice up a Grom super high or something. Now, we don't have a lot of charge period these days, right? I think actually it might just be Grom at this point.
Doomguard.
Huh. That's funny.
Doomguard. Okay.
Speaking of discard Warlock, yeah.
Indeed. Yeah. But which is maybe for the best. But
Kane's sticking around too, right?
What is
Kane?
Sun Fury.
Kane. Oh, sure. Yeah.
Kane. And you can put things back in your deck now with that new neutral.
Actually,
tradables it.
Illidari Inquisitor.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
Right. It's a chonky minion to contribute to the thing, and then also goes face. Yeah. There. I don't know. I mean, look, again, it is still you have to find this minion and play it, and it only affects the deck. So there's a lot that needs to happen. I expect this to be just a meme card, but it's cool to think about.
Honestly, for a neutral legendary, I'm not upset that that's where we're at, right? Both this and Gen as a deck building challenge.
More like we're gonna see Gen,
Yeah, Gen I think we are going to see, but they have a similar sense of you want this to be neutral because you want multiple classes to have access to this deck building puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
But even with Gen, I don't think you're going to see it everywhere, right? Only specific types of decks. For Gen, it's specific types of Geth. For Varanoth, you have to literally build it for that. But for both of them, it's we're not going to be seeing it everywhere. It's not going to be the new Elise or the new Ziliax.
Yeah,
absolutely. Which a big win.
You have to have this be neutral because if you're giving this as one of the class's legendaries, you're effectively not giving them a legendary, right? So
they used to do that to Rogue all the time.
Yeah, well, and good because it deserves it, but that's beside the point. but like this is something where it does feel. Now we've been wrong on this before because we looked at
Sure.
most people. I don't think I did, but I think a lot of people looked at Ceaseless Expanse and said you're never casting that, and boy, were they wrong. But this does seem pretty rough to have to put together. Like I think I saw someone post on Reddit, they just took current Dragon Warrior, like current pre-rotation, not Dragon Warrior, and it was like 99. So, but I don't know that we're doing that post-rotation. Like that's going to be, I mean, maybe we are, but it seems like things are going to be a little bit faster to not necessarily be able to get away with that. But I guess if you're spreading out the mana curve, right? If you do have some room for some 1/2 costs, and all of a sudden you're getting a 1 mana 7/7, like that's fine.
Yeah, maybe you play it in an aggressive-ish deck, like not a super aggro deck. You won't get high enough, but like a mid-rangey board deck, and then you only play this if you're facing down a control deck and you need bigger minions at the end.
Yeah, I mean maybe, and I expect there will be something that sort of necessarily to hit that 100 plays some tricks, right? Like that giant, like other things that reduce that I'm sure exist, but I'm blanking on. You may just have to play some of those things like the Elusive Dragon, right? Where it's just like, okay, well, its cost is higher, but I can play it for lower. And I feel like that's, if this is going to be anything, I think it's going to rely on that kind of stuff.
Right, because an average mana cost of 5 or like 4 or 5, depending on how many minions you have in your deck, is pretty high.
Oh yeah, Perennial Serpent too. That's an 8 drop that costs 4 if something's dormant. That seems okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, maybe Demon Hunter is the easiest time to do this. So I guess we'll see.
Yes, we will see. All right, that is a lot of cards. We'll have even more to talk about next week.
And theory crafting potentially, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, theory crafting, we should be able to talk about whichever way that pans out next week.
Yeah. If we are doing theory crafting, we'll announce it in the Discord and on Patreon. So if you are not part, you don't have to pay to the Patreon. We would love it if you did. But even you can sign up for the Patreon as a free member and you'll still get that note.
Yep. And regardless, we'll be doing Friday next week instead of Thursday.
Yes.
To account for, wanting to see all the stuff. But that's all we have today. So we have many folks we'd like to thank. Check out our thanks section on the website at Concede.com. We can also find our contact info, our show notes, and our Patreon information. You can monetarily support our show at patreon.com/Concede. Join us every week live by following us on Twitch at twitch.concede.com. Join our community chats in our Discord at discord.concede.com. Write into our email at coinconcede@gmail.com. Follow us on Blue Sky at CoinConcede. Subscribe to us on YouTube at youtube.com/@CoinConcede. And if you would like some CC swag, head on over to our shop at coin-concede-shop.fourthwall.com. And Coin Concedes.
I'm going to coin concede to someone who I did not get their name, and I regret it because I was kind of like in shell shock at the time. But I took my oldest daughter was home from college this past week, and so we had gone to a card show on Saturday. That was kind of a bust. It was all Pokemon, and I don't do Pokemon because I can't afford collecting Pokemon cards. That's too much. But there was one of the vendors who saw I was wearing my Hearthstone Creator backpack, and he saw it. He said, "Oh, hey, I've got one of these iron-on patches of a mana crystal, and it's my last one. Here, do you want to take it?" And so I did, and it mostly looks like a mana crystal. So I appreciate that. I haven't ironed it onto a backpack yet, clearly because it's sitting there. But I appreciate that. It was a pretty cool thing. I don't often get I mean, I bring that backpack to these kinds of card shows fairly often, and I don't get a whole lot of comments about it in those circles. So it was pretty cool to see somebody responding to that, and then having a Mana Crystal Iron-On patch, which I was super not expecting. So it was pretty cool.
Well, I will coin concede to the listener series top 8: Torby Flenderson, Shadow Avian, Pescatarian, Pilot, Ronadin, Proby1, Joltsy, and I also made it to the top 8, but not out of the quarterfinals. So congrats to Proby1 for beating me earlier today. I think he just left the chat, but I'm sure he'll be listening as well. And yeah, there's some fierce competition in the listener series, and thanks everyone who participated. Had a fun time. And yeah, I think honestly, as a host playing in it this time, I'm very glad to have made it to the top 8. It would have been weird if I won, right? So had to get eliminated at some point. Might as well be now. Now, that said, I absolutely played as hard as I could. Those were well-deserved victories that Proby1 got over me. We went 2-1. Yeah, but I was like, just as well. How about you, Edel?
Well, I am going to coin concede to Firebat in terms of just to sort of, welcome back. And it's awesome to have him back. I feel like there's a number of people that have been around kind of since the early days, but there's also been quite a few who fell off and we haven't heard from, and new ones who have risen up, and particularly in competitive scene. I really hope he makes it to the final part of the qualifying tournament, because it would be such an incredible storyline to have of Firebat. I'd get to talk about the Rarin video and how he came back to the game and how he's been looking at it. Like it's just I feel like esports is at its best when we have great storylines, and certainly his is a great storyline. So very excited to have him back, and looking forward to see what he can do. Also, I think obligatory coin concede to the creator team for allowing me to do the review stream. Very excited. We've got the most cards, I think, of these. I think we do more classes.
Yeah, you're doing because the other ones have been 2. Did you do? Is yours 3?
Ours is 3. We've got
the
rest of Warrior, because we saw Rag, but we didn't see any of the Herald cards for Warrior. And then we've got Paladin. Very curious what direction Paladin's going. And we have Shaman, which it's funny. None of them are like, oh, this is my class, right? Like I think I can pretty confidently say Mage and Death Knight are these are my favorites. But Paladin and Warrior and Shaman are all classes that I feel like I have at various points when there's certain decks just been like having a blast. I think the Pure Paladin was one of those. Good Shaman and like a couple other iterations of Shaman have been like that. And yeah, whenever there's a aggressive Warrior, I often am on board for that. Oddly, not this most recent Dragon. I guess anytime there's like an Enrage Warrior, been on board for that. So we'll have to see. I mean, look, I'd be down for a Rag Warrior. Rag looks great. I'm excited for Warrior.
Yeah.
Galakron Warrior was fun. It kind of towed the line of what it looks like this Rag Warrior is and a sort of Enraged Warrior.
Was that Crispy Skipper time, or was that after that?
No, I think it might have been Risky. Not Crispy.
Oh, okay.
I think the original.
Oh, Risky Skipper. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that is correct. Because that was when I was not playing. So
okay. Yeah.
Then this will be, for those who are listening to us live or to the early audio, it will be on February 27th at 2 p.m. Pacific or 5 p.m. Eastern if you want to catch Edelweiss live with drops.
Hey, that's
and
tomorrow.
And I
so
won't be
that's tomorrow.
driving home from the train station, so I'll actually be able to watch it because 5 p.m. Eastern is not a great time for me to be able to watch those videos.
So I'm excited to see that. Also a coin concede to the two of you for holding down the fort last week while I was out. It was fun to listen to the video while I was editing, and hear all of your insights. And part of me is like, oh, I wish I had said this, but there was also so much stuff that I, of course, would never have thought of. And so it was just fun being a part of it even after. So thank you guys for keeping the flame going.
Of course.
Yeah. Well,
we all got to sometimes.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we all get felled. As the wise men of Chumbawamba once said, we get knocked down and we get up again. So, anyhow, that's gonna do it on that note for this week. So if you see us on ladder, keep calm. And this was a triumph. And if you see us on ladder, coin concede.
Coin concede.
Coin concede.
All life must end. I yield for now. I concede. Well fought. I concede.
You win this one.
The victory is yours.
You have bested me.
I give up.
You win this one, friend.